Thank you, Case. Now, I will introduce you Murat Kahraman from Game Factory, Melih Yurduseven, Ozan Aydemir, İlayda Bayari, Mehmet Umut Ermec. Gaming Anatolia, unveiling the mobile game market in Türkiye. Okay. Okay. So we will wait until 11:30. Murat Kahraman, Melih Yurduseven, Ozan Aydemir, İlayda Bayari, and Mehmet Umut Ermec, they will speak about Gaming Anatolia, unveiling the mobile game market in Türkiye.
So I think let's sit with this order, so there's no confusion. Hello everyone, it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's going to be a great panel, I can already tell. There are a lot of know-how and experience in the room right now, so before further ado, let me just start introducing my guests. Let's start with İlayda. İlayda, why don't you talk about yourself real fast?
Hello everyone, so this is İlayda. I'm the VP of Business Development for the MENA, like Middle East and African region, as well as the Iberian region for Exola. For the ones who are not yet familiar with our company, Exola is an international game commerce company who helps publishers and developers from any platforms and any sizes to cope with the complexities of like funding, global distribution, alternative monetization, and marketing models. So if you have any issues around that, please just like find me and let's discuss.
I think, yes, that's working. Hello, my name is Ozan Aydemir, owner of the gaming and esport agency, Gaming in Turkey, and since 7 years we are in Turkey giving services to companies like Blizzard, Coca-Cola, Burger King, and Mobile Legends, and all kind of marketing services you can think. I think it will be a great speech today, and I'm giving you.
Hello everyone, my name is Murat Kahraman and I am one of the founders of Game Factory. And what is Game Factory? Game Factory is an incubator and accelerator company in game vertical. What we are doing, now we are focusing on some acceleration programs. One is Game Booster that we are running with Google. And the other one is Meta Game On, that the program that we are running with Meta. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Melih. I'm working for Leke Games and I'm responsible for all the user acquisition strategy.
A little louder, please.
All right?
Yes.
Does it sound good, Rod?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, all right. So, okay, I'm Melih and I'm working for Leke Games and I'm responsible for all the user acquisition strategies for my company. And for those wondering what Leke Games is doing, basically we are a publisher and also we are producing our own hybrid casual and casual games.
Thank you, everyone, for the introductions. So I'm just going to start. Let me talk about how it's going to go. It's just going to be like a regular conversation. I'm going to ask questions, and anyone from the panelists who want to answer is going to answer. So here's my first question. How did Turkey become a leader in mobile gaming, and how has this changed over time? What were some of the key milestones and turning points? Who wants? Okay, İlayda.
That's my favorite subject, so let me start. I think it wouldn't be wrong to say that it all started with a few key characteristics of our culture and people. Like Turkish people are hardworking, passionate, and quite innovative, right? So, and Turkey is one of the countries who has a very talented young audience and who are quite passionate about playing games. And when that passion met with entrepreneurial mindsets, and we do have a lot of entrepreneurs in Turkey, gaming actually found itself a ground which it could have been like grown and cherished within the region. Of course, I think the like key milestones, we could list Peak Games and like Grime Games as the very first like success stories within the like Turkish mobile gaming market. Peak had a set of card games about like maybe like 7-8 years ago, and those titles become quite successful and of course got attention from the global giants, as well as Grime Games. So they had a pair of puzzle games which got a lot of success, and then of course like industry giants like Zynga put their eyes on those two, let's say, mobile game companies at that time. And of course, later on, with the rapid growth and, let's say, becoming one of the top hyper-casual publishers in the industry, Rolik became one of the top publishers, actually the main publishers within Turkey. So all of these three companies were acquired within, I guess, like 2 to 3 years of time span. And so it all began with those success stories. Of course, there are many other successful publishers and like game developers here in Turkey. We have many other acquisitions, like we have Netmarble and Joy Game, we have Miniclip and Masamo, maybe like Ruby and Rovio, and so on. We have more. But I think with all that companies' operations and with their like success, we were able to enhance the gaming landscape and create some job opportunities for the young and creative people we have. And again, especially if you consider the hyper-casual boost in 2020. So the top publishers like Rolik and the other hyper-casual publishers, they all started to work with more and more local studios and indie developers and gave them some opportunities to take their chances in this opportunity pool. And we have here like Umut and then Murat from like T-Play and Game Factory. So there was like certain interest coming from the audience. So they were more interested to learn about like game design, game development. So together with the experienced studios, we built some like accelerator programs, like incubators, gaming hubs, and we started to support them on their like game design and development educations. Of course, we have right now various universities who support those talents with their game design and game development courses. But of course, this is a very brief summary of like how it all started and evolved. Just another note. I think so. There are like many milestones, right? So there are many successful games, millions of downloads coming from different publishers and developers. But I think the one thing we can just like emphasize is that the Turkish mobile gaming ecosystem is quite capable of adapting itself to the new things and changes, right? So with every change, with every challenge, we were able to adapt ourselves and achieve a great result at the end. So I think this is how we evolved the business around mobile gaming market, and this is why it is going forward constantly.
Maybe I can add only a few things, because a few things left. You know, in Turkey, there was a belief that one-man army. So every young developer was thinking that they can do everything alone, but in time, thanks God, we passed that period, and now we work as a team. So that also improved the quality, that's for sure. On the other hand, as you know, we have a very young population and nearly more than 40 million gamers. That's showed us we like games, we play games, even we are all playing games. And that gives us a chance to test our games to all kind of audience before expanding globally. This is also an advantage for us. And finally, I can add to İlayda the entrepreneurial spirit in us. So if you check the last 5 years, there are around, if I am not mistaken, 550 new startups, and most of them are about mobile gaming, and they are getting also investment. That investments also improve them to make better quality games, and also that improve and give the chance to create new startups.
Thank you. Actually, there's nothing to add, but I want to just to look from another perspective this question. If you want any industry to be successful in any country, then you need to have 3 topics actually. One is a talent pool that we have. Second is a government support that we have also. It can be higher, but it is better than most of the countries. And the third and the last one, maybe the most important one, is the money. And 3 years ago, yeah, we had that money and we became this situation. But now, we also ask what changed now. The money part is changed. Now, most of the studios are just struggling to find the money or raise the money at the moment. So this is the situation. We still have the talent, we still have the government support, but we are looking hard for the money now.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually everything is said, but I can say that the Turkish young people are already really interested in the game, and the main acquisitions like Zynga did, like the Rovio did, already pushed the interest in a professional and business level. So I think, yeah, we have a great dynamic and young population, and we are really tech-savvy people. So that's a great advantage, so we are trying to leverage that.
Thank you. Great points from everyone. Undeniably, Turkey is, one of the leaders right now, especially in mobile gaming, which leads to my next question. Turkey's mobile game industry is very successful. Do you believe the current level of international recognition accurately reflects the depth and the strength of the ecosystem? What can be improved? You want to go first?
Sure, let's keep the order. I mean, as someone who travels a lot and meets with global gaming ecosystem players, including developers, publishers, government associations, investors, I can honestly say that there is a certain recognition towards Turkish mobile gaming market and its success. Especially, again, referring to the previous discussion we had. So a few years back, we had a rapidly growing industry, super quickly actually evolving and growing. And at that time, of course, we got a lot of attention globally and locally. And there were lots of M&As and investments. But it wasn't just about M&As or investments, but it was also about the talent, right? We discussed about how important talent is in Turkey. And actually, let's say, foreign countries, publishers, they were quite interested about our local talent because we do really work hard. We do have the creativity and capability. I think there is still that recognition and interest towards our talent as well as towards games and industry. But I need to also say that it is somehow limited to, let's say, common sense, which may mean that to the general news, maybe top charts. It is kind of limited to relevant publishers or ad tech, game tech companies. And if you ask the reason of why, It is because we are mainly dominating the mobile gaming market in like hybrid, hyper, and casual genres, but not in the other genres yet. So yes, there's a familiarity, yes, there's a recognition, but of course we need to not improve, but as we evolve our games around other genres, around other platforms, which is happening also very fast. So there will be like another level of recognition, and let's say we will be for sure one of the top gaming markets, not only for the mobile market, but also for any platform, including PC, console, and VR, I guess.
Okay, İlayda.
It's hard to answer the questions after İlayda. Maybe you should consider to...
I love communication, and that's my topic.
Okay, I agree with you. Maybe what we have to improve is more concentrate on global marketing and more international collaboration, both for our games, but not only for our games, also for the reputation of our country. This will be important because we already proved that we can develop games because we had many success stories. But I agree with İlayda, why not developing more sports games, more RPG games, or MOBA type games. So if we can improve ourselves with different kind of genres, I think in a very short time we will be number one.
Maybe you can take this one.
I have mine. So what to improve? Actually, most of our studios are very good at developing games, but they are not very good at running business actually. And that's why what we have to learn at these days, and these are not easy days actually, how to run their businesses, because game business is not just developing games but also publishing them and running the money and running the business. So most of our studios are very young studios and they do not have any experience of how to run a startup or how to run a business. So they have to learn this, and we are learning it in hard ways actually at the moment. But after learning that business part of the business, we will see a lot of more successful studios from Turkey.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the great answers. I agree. And I think we should do, I just want to add one quick note. I think as the entrepreneurs and leaders of the ecosystem, leaders within the ecosystem, I think we should do better in terms of not underselling ourselves a little bit, because that's something I've been noticing as a pattern in Turkey. We are one of the strongest muscles in the world when it comes to gaming, definitely in mobile gaming. And as you clearly stated, it's going to get better and better, and we should sell it better and better day by day. Now, my next question is about the Turkish ecosystem in general. How would you describe the current state of Turkish mobile gaming ecosystem? What are the strengths, weaknesses, and unique characteristics compared to other regions? What I'm actually trying to ask is what is the unfair advantage that we have? Like, what gives us a clear competitive advantage? What's your opinion? Let's start from Murat.
I have a very short answer for that. We are living in Turkey, so we know we
now,
have
I know, I
the
exactly
best resiliency.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah,
and
can you elaborate?
that's our advantage, because nobody here knows what to happen tomorrow. So we are.
Can you elaborate? Because there are maybe some people who doesn't understand what it means to be an entrepreneur in Turkey or a game developer in Turkey.
You know, Turkey is what kind of country? A country with full of surprises actually, and some of the surprises are good, but most of them are not good. So we are always ready to take a new position every day. So our resilience is very, very high actually, and also we have a young population, and they are so creative because of this reason. We are always ready for every type of situations. So we have a very high resilience.
Thank you. Great answer.
Yeah, like I said before, yeah, Turkey's population is really young and tech-savvy. So besides that, as we all know, yeah, we are in an economical crisis. But as we think about a company owner, that might be a diamond because you can hire your employees much lower than the salaries than your competitors. So that might be a great advantage, an unfair advantage maybe. And
Not in Istanbul anymore. You know, the salaries are like London salaries in Istanbul now, I think.
And if your company is founded in Turkey, also there are lots of great support packages offered by the Turkish state. So that's another unfair advantage, I guess.
Thank you. Ozan, İlayda. Oh, you want to go?
So for our strength side, I can add one more thing, maybe a very strong side of us, which we don't use yet, or cultural histories, rich histories, because when you check the global games, I am not talking only for mobile games. If you check the PC games, PS games, console games, or mobile games, you can see Greece history, Vikings history, but not so much our cultural history. But if you check our background, we can create so many great lores and stories. I think we have to use it more. As weaknesses, I can add, unfortunately, still, I think there is an internet infrastructure problem here in Turkey. Even we have 3 big companies like Türk Telekom, Turkcell, and Vodafone. I think we have to improve that part because we are, even as a gamer, we are facing still with problems and getting upset about it. And on the other hand, maybe regularity in cities, we can improve that part, but it's all about the government. We can nothing to do about it. So I can add this, maybe little, maybe we can whine about it. Yes.
Okay, so maybe a quick summary. Strengths, I think, again, like Murat mentioned, our ability to adapt everything, right? So we are able to adapt really fast and very innovatively to every single change, not only within the country, but like globally, market change, audience change. I think this is the biggest strength that we have, along with creativity, of course. Weaknesses, of course, there are like some certain things from I don't know, like structural things, from to economy, financial issues, but they are not kind of a weakness we have. Maybe there are challenges, but in terms of weakness, maybe I would say approach in the past, because there was a popularity and everyone was like, I should be in the gaming industry, like developing games or investing one. And those were the phrases coming from inexperienced like people. Of course, we do support their vision, goals, and we try to help them in their like achievements. But of course, I think right now we have a more solid ground. We have more experienced and oriented studios who also like lead the way for the like newcomers. And we do have more experienced investors and publishers, which is, I think, much more important than the first one. Unfair advantage, I think I don't think we have one, because so I'm working with a lot of emerging markets, and in every market there are advantages and disadvantages, right? For Turkey, I think one of the advantages is that we do have a chance to work with industry giants, because our top like publishers and developers, they are acquired by those like global giants, and there is an information flow, like know-how exchange, right? So not that they're interfering to operations, but at least there is like a information exchange. So that is, I think, an advantage if you're especially looking for something more innovative, creative, or maybe if you're looking for a bigger or a unique title. But of course, this is an advantage here in Turkey, and in another country there are other advantages. But I think that would summarize everything in between.
Thank you very much for the great answers. I 100% agree with all of them. And I would like to add maybe one thing, and that's high-skilled talent. I think there's weakness there. I'm talking about technical artists, producers, technical designers. You know, I think universities should do better regarding developing these talents. But at the same time, we have 1 million unemployed grads as we speak, which is a crisis for the country, but it's an opportunity for the gaming industry. So, and I think we did a good job. I want to pat ourselves on the back for that, with zillion different incubators, accelerators, apprenticeships, internships. We developed thousands of talents in Turkey within the last 5 years, but we should do better. Which brings me to the next question. By the way, I have a few more questions, then I'll let you ask your own question so you can start thinking about them if you have any. What challenges and opportunities have Turkish mobile gaming companies faced? I don't know where to start, but what innovative strategies have helped Turkish mobile gaming companies succeed in mobile gaming? In short, what are the problems and how did we solve it innovatively? You want to go first, Melih? Sure, go ahead.
I can start. So I'm mostly working on the marketing and UA side, so the most challenging part was always the...
Melih, just a little louder like this, please.
Louder?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
So in my perspective, the most challenging part was always the rising user acquisition and marketing costs. So as you know, the CPI is constantly rising and the market is getting dominated by giant publishers and it's getting more competitive and more saturated day by day. So, and this high CPI doesn't let us to monetize our users in a profitable way by just showing them the ads. So you have to push your users to make in-app purchases. And at that point, most of the successful companies take a reroute from their business model and went from hyper-casual to hybrid casual and casual projects. So which means you have to bring out more captivating gameplay, you have to bring out more a storyline or something like that because you have to keep your users engaged in your game. And you have to reach out a long-term retention because unlike the hyper-casual, the day 1, day 3, day 7 or the day 14 LTVs won't cover your CPI. So the companies who has the larger budgets or working with the larger publishers, of course, started day 1 step ahead from its competitors. But besides that, there are also lots of strategies that we are still using to lower the CPI, like you can use the social media memes, fake gameplays, or hyper-casual mechanics in your creatives. Yes, they are...
Fake gameplays made me cry.
Yeah. Yes, they are eventually bringing out low LTV and low retention, but at that point, there were some options followed by those companies, like if you can find a creative with high IPM and low CPI, you may want to start to think about how to adapt that creative gameplay into your actual game. Like in the social media, we are all seeing creatives like we are trying to save a king from fire or drowning, right? Or there are still lots of the hybrid casual titles dominating the market with the mass destruction creatives. And these mechanics aren't actually in the core gameplay, but somehow they successfully adapt those gameplay into their actual game. So yeah, I think these companies already became the unicorns or made their successful exits, or they are still running their business strong.
Thank you. Great answer. Very technical one. Ozan, you want to go for it? Okay.
Okay, as lack of education, I can start from this point. Yes, in the last 5 years, when you check the universities, you can find many programs about game design or development. But the problem there is this staff also, unfortunately, have to improve themselves because it's a fresh thing for us too, for the universities too, and it's hard for them to also to find skilled teachers to teach the youth how to make game design or development. It will take time, but I think we will pass this hard time soon because the universities are working hard at that part.
I hope.
We have to hope. We have to hope. And other than that, we mentioned some of the weaknesses at your previous question. Financing problems were also a big milestone for the especially small mobile game developers, because you know we have very talented young people. They are trying to develop games, but on the other hand, at the mornings they are working to gain money. For example, they are working at a restaurant. At night they are trying to develop the game. It's impossible like this. That's why the investments in time, especially in 3 years, helped a lot, and that made the improvements.
There are a few companies, I'm glad to have them, who are like providing pre-seed, seed investment in Turkey. Just game industry based, like WePlay and others, Ludus, and now Laton is in the game. So these are good, but we need more. More Turkish capital in the game industry.
Maybe I can add one more thing. In years, I saw many perfect games, hyper casual or casual games developed by Turkish young developers. For example, a young boy showed me his game. The game is like a snake game, but he combined the idea with the dancing halay. You know, there's a Turkish dancing style, like we are binding our hands and going like this. And it's going longer and longer. It's a perfect idea.
For Turkey.
For Turkey. It's a great start, but I asked him, okay, where is the monetization? And he said, good question. There is no monetization in a purchase. So this was also a problem. In time, we started to solve this, but young developers have to figure out that they are not making art. This is business. They have to gain money.
Just to avoid some misunderstanding, it is art, but at the same time it's business.
Yes.
So we have a perfect word for that in Turkish. We call it zanaat, which is a combination of trade and art. We don't have that word, I think, in English.
You can think like football business. It's a sport, but business on the other hand. So you have to gain money to improve your art. Let's think like this.
I cannot agree more. I want to add a few points to your comments, Ozan, especially about the schools, universities. I think they should do better. I can say that wholeheartedly as an educator who spent 7,000 hours teaching in the US. So I come from an educational background, so it's fair for me to judge them. I'm judging them. They're not doing a good job. I think there should be more programs. I remember Burak teaching at Bahçeşehir 5 years ago, spending his precious time, and I covered him once. You know, he was doing, even though he had a full calendar. And I know other people like that in the industry. So I think the schools, the deans, the executives, key decision makers should create more opportunities like that, should get more support. I'm more than happy to provide what I can if a university comes and asks me, which didn't happen yet. That's very interesting. We launched the #1 studio accelerator program in the world. Sorry, Murat, but we generated 50 million downloads globally, Tier 1 countries. And I expect some universities, some schools to come. By the way, Murat is also very successful. He's more of an incubator guy, not to put him in the shadow or anything like that. But I think we are ready to do more, and I think there needs to be some initiatives coming from the academia. Regarding your second note, I also fully agree. But I want İlayda to add his points as well. So, what do you think, İlayda?
I think we pretty much covered the key elements here. In terms of, let's say, challenges, I think there is no specific challenge towards Turkish mobile gaming market because the gaming market itself is quite competitive and challenging, right? So there are, of course, lots of publishers, developers, so your competitors, and then there are external factors like increasing CPIs, decreasing CPMs, like audience habits and preferences change. But of course, when we are looking to the specifically Turkish gaming market, of course, like Melih mentioned, and Murat added one, so of course, financial things affect a lot, especially small to mid-sized studios. And again, like you cannot, to emphasize what Ozan mentioned, you cannot just like build a game that you like. It has to be a business. It has to be, it has to have some like short-term, long-term, mid-term like goals, right? So it has to be some planning behind it. I think these are the challenges we are having, especially for like small to mid-sized studios, because they somehow lack experience on that matter. But I think again, like with VCs, investors, other alternative funding, let's say platforms, we are covering, yep, we are one of them. So we are covering that part more and more. And as for how we are coping with those like challenges, I think again, it comes to talent and creativity on and on. Like creatives, again, Melih mentioned. So when there is a lack of user, we somehow find that very specific creative to acquire another million of users. Our publishers are very, very experienced and very creative about finding unique mechanics, like new mechanics, new concepts, like within maybe last 4 to 5 years. Like every single quarter, we see a new mechanic, a new game concept. So that shows that we are quite innovative and creative on that aspect. And those are the things how we cope with those challenges. Of course, like we have these university programs. We try to collaborate with all of them, I think, in the past. And I'm still like within Exola trying to collaborate with them. But what we had back at that time is that, so you have your talented and experienced studios, like senior developers and maybe game designers, artists, but then they don't have time to go and teach within that specific program. I think what they can do is maybe hire some, like they do for us, like hire some foreign talent, right? Because it has to be practical, not theoretical. I think that's the issue.
Yes, amen. That would be amazing. Just think about it, like any university, let that be Bahçeşehir, Bilgi, even like İTÜ, ODTÜ, whatever, hiring a producer from United States, and he's teaching online via Zoom. That would be amazing. I would take that course, to be honest with you. For example, right now, for my company, we are in need of consultancy in regards to game economics, because now our games are getting more and more sophisticated, action games, and economy is very sophisticated, inflation and all that. It's not an easy job. Now we are willing to pay for it. If I'm willing to pay for it, somebody will pay for it to a Turkish talent as well, which needs to be developed by the schools and universities and organizations, which we are also establishing a trade association. Hopefully it's going to help in this regard as well. Now, my next question is about esports. Very, very interesting. So, Ozan, I'm going to ask you first, because you're the subject expert for this. There is a growing interest in mobile esports in Turkey. By the way, you should elaborate on that. So what it is? Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And do you think mobile gaming producers will start leveraging this trend soon?
Okay. Esports is very popular in Turkey, that's for sure. And the pioneer of it is Riot Games with the PC games, League of Legends and Valorant. And right after that, PUBG Mobile, Garena Free Fire, Mobile Legends, and many other PC or mobile games started their own professional leagues or tournaments. And many esports teams, and I saw many familiar faces here. They have more experience than me. We have many esports team and certificated esports players. But the question here is, do we have to develop an esports game right now? I think it's very early stage, because yes, we can develop an esports game, that's for sure. We can develop it in a very good quality. But it's not the main point. The main point is how will we do it popular globally, because there were also some local attempts like Zula. Zula was a good game, but only making an esports tournament or league locally doesn't mean anything. You have to have success globally. You have to make marketing promotion globally, operational things all globally, and that means a huge investment, millions of dollars. You have to create a huge community. You have to find esports team who will invest your league or game. I think better keep it in the pockets right now and focus more on developing different kind of genres like sports game, RPG games. If they become popular, change them to esports. If you have community, changing them esports game, it could be a good start. But other than that, I think it will be meaningless for now.
So you think it's a little like it will be prematurely right now if you do it. So, but it's always a good thing to have it in the back of your mind.
Of course.
Why not? You know, one day, maybe next year, maybe 5 years from now.
If you have millions of dollars to spend, you can try.
Yeah. It's pocket money for me. What do you think?
Maybe we should start first to learn how to develop multiplayer competitive games.
That's a good point.
And then games fun to play and fun to watch also. Then we can start to consider about the esports.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I mean, so I think it's a very tough job, right? So especially in Turkey. So Middle East is one of my main regions, and we do experience a lot of interest towards esports, especially in like Emirates and Saudi Arabia. And government is also heavily investing, right? I think that's what you're mentioning, Ozan. So I think unless there is a huge investment and support coming through your government, it's a quite tough job to handle, because esports also has very main legal restrictions and like regulations in each and every single region, and it changes from one region to another. And I think from what I see from my experiences, of course, I'm not the expert here, but at least in esport, so esports, of course, offline and online supports and feeds the player community. But for that specific game to be successful, I think, of course, it's way before it's becoming an esports element, right? It has to be successful, like Murat mentioned before. So we have Zula, one of the maybe only MMO FPS games here in Turkey. No. I mean, we also, so they're also my partners. We help them to like arrange and organize some like tournaments in Europe and in LATAM. But of course, like when you consider the scope, of course, it's not similar to many other global giants. I think it's a very tough job to handle. But what we first need to do as the like Turkish, not mobile, but gaming market, we of course need to focus on the game itself, like producing the perfect game that could fit with the esports elements. It has to be competitive, it has to be having mid-core elements, dynamics. So I think we need to first focus on that, and then I think we can easily find and get support of, maybe not government, but like other VCs.
Thank you. And also, we have a regional advantage. We're very close to the Gulf region, and there are like giants there, and we should allocate some of their funds in Turkey, I believe, in terms of esports. Melih, you want to add something? Okay, cool. So my last question, can you believe that it's been more than 40 minutes already? Wow, time passes fast when the conversation is good. So there are a lot of companies who have been doing business in Turkey. Like, as Ilayda said, Peak, both, a couple of companies like, Gram Games, Peak, and Rollick. There are other giants like Rovio and Tencent and, Miniclip. And the question is, what should a game company who wants to enter the Turkish market be prepared for? What should they do for marketing in Turkey? Like both as like the production ecosystem, but also as the Turkish market. want to go first, Ozan?
Thank you. Okay, I think since 15 years I am at marketing side in the gaming ecosystem. And I work with many local and global companies. I think the first thing I have to say to them is localization. They already knew this, but the localization doesn't mean putting a character with a fez or headscarf or putting an Ottoman Sultan to the game. Yes, this could be, but we are not just than that. They have to research us well, because every time when we talk with a big giant company, it could be Epic Games, Blizzard, etc. Just giving as an example, not blaming them, but they are showing some pictures to me with headscarf. Okay, it's okay, but we are not that also. We have many background history, cultural things. They have to research us well. This is the first thing. Other than that, the trends. They have to follow the trends in Turkey. Because if they do not follow the trends, there were a local election, for example, last month. We want our partners stop marketing or decrease the budgets, because everywhere will be full of election marketing. So we don't want to spend money at that time. Just wait a few days. On the other hand, for example, during those days, we took a video for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And I'm sure you all know a viral video. There are many street interviews talking with the people and asking to whom they will vote, and they are saying Ekrem İmamoğlu, Murat Boz, some stupid names they could not even pronounce. And we use it, for example. We find an old man, put a Mobile Legends t-shirt and asked him, he answered Estes İmamoğlu. Estes is a character from Mobile Legends. And that 5-second video became viral. They put in the videos, in the long videos, and they have to follow such things. On the other hand, you know, Turkish people, not only gamers, Turkish people could get upset very quickly. So, yeah, they have to take care with us. They have to communicate with us every time, because we can also get happy quickly. They have to communicate with Turkish gamers all the time. Other than that, they have to do everything what they do globally, like user acquisition, PR, influencer marketing, outdoor TV, whatever marketing channels we have, in a very creative way, because everyone is using influencers right now, but it's important how to use them as a tool.
All right. So I think what Ozan emphasized is that it should be culturalization rather than localization, right? So those companies, they need to consider many different elements, including, of course, like language, culture, like religion, politics, like many other things, like finance, even maybe in here. So what we've seen from other regions is that there are very successful companies who helps, like, let's say, other global giants to be present within their region very effectively and successfully, and the way they follow is definitely culturalization. So it really depends on, like, from one game to another, so there are no specifics on that. But again, like Ozan mentioned, you have to be creative, you have to be getting familiar with your audience in terms of marketing, in terms of your creatives. But I think it's also from, like, looking at the game commerce perspective. I think it's also somehow related to your marketing and monetization and distribution strategies, right? Maybe that region has some specific platforms that they're playing games, like downloading games, purchasing currencies, pins. So they should be also getting familiar with the distribution platforms. They should be working with local influencers. There are many platforms where you can find the exact influencers matching with your audience as well as your game's dynamics and, like, let's say, mechanics, right? So you should be coming up with the creative but also relevant influencer marketing methodologies. But I think one other thing is that we haven't mentioned, and maybe not the very first thing they need to consider, but one of the things is that alternative monetization methods, right? Why? Because maybe the way you monetize your games, maybe the channels you're using to like provide purchases is not quite relevant in that specific region. For example, in Turkey, we are not able to use PayPal, right? And that happens in maybe like in other regions there aren't any credit card penetration. In some regions they use like telcos. In some regions they use like cash kiosks. So you need to also get familiar with alternative monetization methods. You need to be sure you're including every single method so that you can reach out to that local audience very specifically.
Perfect. Thank you, Melih.
Yeah, the first thing I will think about is always the funding, because as an emerging market, you're going to be competing against the global giants. So you have to be backed by strong financial dynamics and strong financial instruments. And you have to be prepared for long-term payback periods, right? And for the marketing, to be honest, there's almost zero chance to scale your game without paid user acquisition, unless you have a strong IP like the Minecraft, Spider-Man, or Barbie, right? So you have to invest in paid user acquisition and increase your discoverability. And also, you have to build a robust marketing team, including the 3D artists, 2D artists, the motion designers, a dedicated creative developer, and UA managers that are constantly seeking to market new trends. What are your competitors are doing? And yeah, you have to invest some marketing tools. Like you need an MMP to measure your campaigns effectively, and you need a marketing intelligence tool, and you need a data analysis tool. I know these tools are very expensive, but in return, you're gathering a great insight and great know-how about your target market, your competitors, your genre, and you can even make assumptions about your competitors' soft launch, where they started their tech launch, where are their downloads are coming from, and what is the most profitable geo for them. So when it comes down to scaling the games, I think the data is everything, and gathering this data is priceless.
Thank you. Murat, you want to add anything? As a leader who
yes,
collaborated with giants like Google and Facebook and all that?
Everything is said.
Awesome. So thank you, everyone. It was a great discussion. Now, do you have any questions, guys? We can have some questions. One in front. Would you like to have a microphone? Oh, here you go. Who's asking the question? I think. Oh, can you give him the microphone? Oh, okay. Perfect.
Hi,
Hello.
Roman from Google. I have a question. I have two, actually. One question to Ilayda, who represents, let's say, a provider for the gaming market, a service for the gaming market in Turkey. The question is, if you can give only one advice on working with Turkish gaming studios, what would it be? And the second question would be to everyone else. You discussed a lot about the education, about the talents, and you discussed a lot about the public services that they are not doing enough unis. Yeah. Don't you feel that it's actually on a private shoulders, on the shoulders of private companies to educate people to grow the talent, because only them have the incentive to do that? Public area in general, they are weak with the incentives to grow the talents. Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you, Roman. So let's start with the first one. Yeah, exactly. So why don't you take it from me?
So if I didn't get your question wrong, you're asking what would be the advice if you would like to work with a Turkish gaming studio? Okay. Okay. I think this will be a very basic one, but find the right one. Right studio, publisher to work with, based on your needs, because I'm not familiar with your work, so, and there are various publishers and developers who can help you with different directions, right? So if you need a publisher, we have various publishers, like Leke is one of them, Rolik is one of them. If you're looking for, I don't know, like user acquisition or like monetization services, I can help with that, right? So it really depends on what you need, what your company needs, and in which field you are working with. Because gaming, actually, we are just like talking about like mobile gaming market, but it's a very wide market, right? It really depends on whether you're working on a hybrid, casual, or another level of game. It really depends on whether you're an individual or working with a company. It really depends on whether you are looking for a funding or a monetization or marketing model. I can help you with funding, monetization, distribution, and marketing. So let's take it to the private stage after this one, all right?
Perfect. Oh,
I have a very, very simple advice to work with Turkish game studios. Just come to Game Factory and join one of our partnerships packages. And on the other hand, for the educational part, yes, the educational part cannot be on the shoulders of private companies, but the reality is people who has the know-how has to teach to young people. So if the universities or government doesn't have that know-how, they cannot teach. So they need the help of those people with the know-how.
I want to add one thing to your first question, which is a great question. I'm going to give two answers from two different perspectives. The first perspective is advice to the developers and producers in Turkey. Do what you have to do, not what you want to do. That's the biggest mistake I've seen in Turkey. And the other perspective is anyone who is planning to work with Turkish developers and producers, work with people who do what they have to do, not they want to do. That's very important because I've seen people spending years, I mean years, on something that's not going to scale just because they want to do it. It's very selfish, actually. And unprofessional. So that's the answer for first question. The second question, I agree with you. There's a lot the private companies should do. And believe me, they are doing. Like, I can talk on behalf of T-Play as the CEO. We launched an apprenticeship program that generated 72 new hires. We hired 72 people off of the apprenticeship. And some of them are leads right now in the company. One of them is a director. And also, we tried like internships, etc. Rolik does a lot. There are a lot of companies, and we launched incubators, accelerators. Murat did a great job. I don't know how many thousand people he touched, for example. However, it's not our job to develop talent. It's our job to produce games. So I'm doing it because I have to do it. It's the schools who have to work on that. They're government incentivized. I'm paying for it, like with my tax money. It's their job. So I think the private sector is already doing what it's supposed to do. So anyone who wants to add to the second question? Ozan.
It will be maybe a bad example, but if you follow the football in Turkey, there's a problem right now about referees. And we started to bring referees globally. Maybe universities could do the same. If we can get global support from other universities, if we can get global know-how, I think we will not need other ecosystem to give know-how to the youths. I think the universities have to think about that part because, yes, we have a team at universities, but still lack of skills and know-how, that's for sure. And I am sure as developers, you know much better than them.
Let's not say that.
That's a great point to add. I'm not going to add anything. I just want to add one thing because I love to talk, you know it. The territory is not the map. It's a great American saying. So what you learn in theory doesn't mean that it's going to translate to the practicality of it. So the theory is good, but we should have more practical approach from the school side as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to us. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you, everyone. So hope to see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.